Today we read Psalm 11. When the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? In these thoughts, I generally try to avoid anything political. I feel it's necessary, though, to say something about the current and terrible conflict in the Middle East, not to take any sides, but to reflect on the conflict in the light of the history of these peoples in Scripture, especially the shared Scriptures of the Hebrew Bible, aka the Christian Old Testament. It would be too simplistic, I think, to describe the conflict as between Jew and Muslim. The State of Israel is a political entity. Judaism is a world faith. And while they're very closely connected, of course, they're not identical. Not all Israelis follow the Jewish religion. Many Jews are not Israeli. Palestinians are mostly Muslim, but some are Christian and some are Jewish. In Lebanon, there are 18 religions or sects officially recognised. However, that said, there is a fundamental dispute over the right to land between Israel and Palestine, which goes back a very long way in history. Dare I say, it goes back to biblical times. The roots of the dispute could even be seen in the family of Abraham himself, seen as ancestor to both Jews and Muslims. According to Genesis, and following the customs of the day, Abraham got an heir by his wife's maid Hagar, since his wife was childless and they were both elderly. This child was Ishmael. When his wife Sarah did later have a son, Isaac, Abraham turned Hagar and Ishmael out of the household because Sarah was jealous of her son's position. Now, according to Genesis, God did promise to make Ishmael's descendants into a great nation as well as Isaac's. And Muslims today see Ishmael as the true recipient of God's promise of a nation and land rather than Isaac. Jews and Christians see it the other way. So perhaps it's unsurprising that a conflict was set up right from the beginning between these half-brothers and their descendants. Through the generations, family conflicts can be so deep-seated and long-lasting. The Old Testament is no stranger to conflicts between peoples and nations. Psalm 11, like many psalms, reflects such problems. It moves from helpless despair, what can the righteous do, to trust in God. The Lord is in his holy temple, who will ensure that all receive their just deserts in the end. The Lord tries the righteous as well as the wicked. And it asserts that whatever is happening on earth, however complicated and entrenched our interrelationships become, God does see and know it all. His eyes behold, his eyelids try every mortal being. Many psalms lament the apparent success of the wicked in this life, while the righteous seem to suffer so unjustly. They do not define explicitly who are deemed to belong to which group. Much is assumed, and of course the protagonist in any conflict would disagree on this count as well. But the psalmist takes comfort and refuge in God's all-knowing perspective, seeing the heart and missing nothing that we do or say. Only God knows where righteousness is to be found. And in our helplessness, watching the current Middle Eastern crisis, we can only bring to God in our prayers our longing for peace and our bewilderment at the tangled situation. In the Lord have I taken refuge.